We should just start with the introduction of the show real quick.
Hey, do we have a name for it yet?
No.
We haven't posted it, so nobody knows the name of it. Those of you guys who don't know, we have not yet posted these shows at this moment in time. Therefore, if you sent us a name, we don't have it.
Yeah.
We don't have the show. So it's just for the moment, it's going to be, what? We're going to name this.
I literally have it in my folder. Like, file name is the show.
The show. We'll call it the show for now.
The show.
I'm sure somebody has it called the show in the world. So right, people that own the show, we're not taking your show. We're just using this as like an interim.
It just helps with the organization of the files.
The show. Is it going to be called the show on YouTube right now?
No.
We don't have a name for it yet.
Nothing's uploaded. But by the time you see this video, there's going to be quite a few pieces of content uploaded.
We can retro name it.
We can upload things and go back and change things. We can edit everything.
We can go back and do it, man.
How's everyone doing?
I think they said they're good. They said you're good. I hope you're good. Hey, we're gonna have some fun, man. We do these things because we're in a world full of voyeuristic humans. Everybody wants to watch something and pay attention to something.
Right.
So we're just gonna hang out and talk, man. Give you guys some good insight and maybe a random conversation that goes in a direction that could be of value to your life. That's the whole point of it. To have conversations. We can call it the conversation show. Let's not do that. We're gonna wait for your name. When you get a name to us, we're gonna pick it. And if you don't give a name, we'll make one up and act like one of you sent it in. Just kidding. We're not gonna do that. We might though.
Well, I'll create a fake YouTube account.
Yeah.
Oh, the show should be called.
just like a butterfly is like your emoji thing, whatever it is, the name on there. We want to get into today, man. I had this interesting conversation. I've been having this conversation a lot, and then you could tell me what your thoughts are on it.
Okay.
A lot of people, they spend a lot of years of their life building into something. They build a business, they build sports, and it came, honestly, from sports. Yeah. Someone said, I've played all these sports, and I've been great in these sports. How do I go and then take this confidence? Why can't I have it show up inside a new area of life? Like, why can't I go and be a great athlete and then become a great business owner or a salesperson? Right. And I was like, it's kind of like planting a tree. Think about how long you built this business, this thing up. And it's like, I look at like literally planting a tree. If I came here and planted this tree, and there's a seed in the ground, and then I water it, and then nurture it, and I prune the leaves, and this tree grows, eventually produces fruit. It's amazing fruit. And in life, it's the confidence of being like, I'm a great football player, or I'm great at video. Like, you spent time planting a seed, nurturing it, you harvested that. And then people want to go across town and then plant a seed and wonder why today my tree isn't there producing fruit.
And when you mean go across town, you mean like stepping into a different world.
A new area. I want to go from football, I want to go into entrepreneurship. How come I'm not confident and successful in this area right now? I was confident I was great in football. Well, what did you do to build into football? 12, 13, 14 years, and all of a sudden you come over here and you want to carry that. Now, I do think that when you built that first tree, you have some intangibles. Like when you nurtured and grew that tree, because now I can say, okay, I know when it's going to rain. I know how to cover the plant. I know where to water, when to water. I know how to prune because I took it. But you still have to do the work to plant the tree, to take care of it so that it can harvest later on amazing fruit. And that's a thought that I had this conversation with multiple people in the last week for some reason.
Really? Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. Like when even just in all the conversations that we have when we're talking about the content that we create and even just the scope of where we take the business as a whole, it's constantly looking forward into how do we want to improve and not looking at the short term. I think there's so many conversations that we have where it's like, hey, these next couple months, the engagement rate, right? Yeah. It might be low, but we're looking forward to 3, 6, 12 months down the line, even at this stage in the ball game.
Yeah.
And so we're like, if you have that mindset of thinking in the future, I think that's.
But people don't do that though.
They don't.
They want it now. I want it now.
I
want it right now. Why is it that I can't go over here and be great right now? It's like you got to suck it first, man. You got to suck.
Do you think though? Do you think that's because people don't know why they're getting into it in the first place?
No. I think people do know, but they're wanting this. We're in a world of immediate gratification. I can get some on Amazon and pick it up same day in an Amazon box at a store nowadays. Like the lockers.
That's crazy.
I can get it tomorrow, right? We want everything now. Like okay, how can I have it right now? I've given you money, keep my thing.
Right.
And so we go into these areas of like this new careers or these new areas, and what happens is the world doesn't really work that way in the bigger picture. Like yes, you can spend money and buy things and get them right now. We can get that desire. But if you want the return of like confidence or like the income for a career, you got to do that work. Like you got to nurture it over time, because that's what makes the fruit sweeter. Like you got to do that. And a lot of people aren't getting that. So what they do is they go and plant a seed in this tree that would be great.
Right.
If they took the time, would be great. They say, well, I don't have anything now. I'm just going to go plant a new seed and a new seed. And they have a field full of planted seeds with no trees.
It's just emptiness.
Yeah. A lot of work, because they're not walking around digging up things, putting a seed. I'm going to try this new thing. New shiny object. They call it shiny objects.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a shiny object. It's a great object, and that one's not shiny. It's this one right here. You lost interest. So you went looking for something shiny. If my head's down watering this tree right here and watering this plant, I would have no vision to see the thing that's shiny. But people are watering this plant and saying, it's not great right now. Let me see what else I can find. They're finding non-shiny objects, but it's something else that's an object.
Do you think, because you know how you see all these posts on the internet where they're like entrepreneurs are disheveled in there and they're always thinking about the next like thing to build, right?
Yeah.
But it's counterintuitive at the same time, because to be a good entrepreneur, to be good at building a business, to be good at becoming a great athlete or good at becoming a great parent, whatever it is, you have to be hyper-focused on something.
Yeah.
But we see all this information
that
you're supposed to be like ADHD is like a quality of an entrepreneur.
Yeah, they say it nowadays. I got ADHD, but I learned, I manage it so I can get things done. I get what you're saying though, because then there is this whole facade, I think, of people thinking that entrepreneurship is the same.
Right.
And it's not. I mean, there's many forms of it. I mean, there's people who are entrepreneurs that they sit behind the scenes. They run major corporations. It's still an entrepreneur. You just run organizations, a big corporation. Then you have solopreneurs who are individuals like myself who kind of have I'm the guy and I build my thing.
Yeah.
But the traits of what would make me great are to stick to something. In fact, this last year was the best financial year for my business. But it was the first time I stuck to one thing. It may be variances, but I stayed the course on one, painstakingly redoing funnels and testing and trying and building and pushing the same thing and getting better at pushing the same thing out, making it better every time I gave it to the world. And that's what all of a sudden, like people are like, all of a sudden, it was me just doing the same thing against the desire to like go somewhere else and try something new that could be a fast flash. Because we feel like when we enter this world, you're entering it behind the ball in some way because somebody else is doing it and they're farther ahead.
Right.
How do I get there faster?
Right.
It's a problem because you're not going to get there any faster. You can try what they did, but to be honest, what they did took years.
Do you think that like in that process for you for the year, the like best year financially, and you focus on one thing, were there ever moments? Like how did you get past those moments? Because I'm knowing you, there was a million things that popped in your head across what kept you on the course?
I think it was the realization that if I continue to keep restarting stuff, I'd continue to keep staying back. And to be honest, my wife and I had a real conversation here, people. My wife gave me until November of last year. She's like, if by November of this last year...
2018 or 2019?
2018.
Okay.
So that's why this year had to be big, because last year I just hit the stride. Like November 2018, I just figured it out. And I was like, she was at the back and she's like, if you're not making, she didn't know how much I made. Like, she didn't care how much I made. I made good money. I was making six figures.
Right.
But she was like, this was at the end of 2018. But the problem was making good money, but it wasn't consistent. Mm-hmm. I'd have big chunks, no chunks. Then big chunks, then no. So it's
it feels good.
It's up and down.
Feels good
for me. But then for her, she has to have consistency. So I changed the model up, and she's like, if you don't have consistency by November 2018, then like I can't support you still doing this. Not that she would have done it, we'd have had a lot of contention. So
right.
I had to change the whole model of how I did stuff, which put everything on a halt that I was doing with the big chunk, small chunk kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped it all. And then what I did is I went back in and just built this thing. And the reason why I stayed consistent was I started seeing what the consistency created for me. Like the consistent actions, the same program, same refining and re-improving the thing and putting it back out. I started making more consistent income. And then I still had this big bumps. I get the big, bumps of income here and there over the months. But the base layer was always the same and scaling and growing to where my monthly was consistent. So that was the big thing. We're asking what kept me on path was also not connecting the outcome to like my self-worth or having to reach some arbitrary goal. And a lot of people are saying, like, I was an entrepreneur, I got to get this end result, I got to get here. And what we do is we try to find ways to get to this end result faster. So if I'm saying I got to make, I don't know, $200,000 this year, how do I get 200,000? I'm thinking if I can sell this and make 100 grand and 50 grand here, and that's what the focus is. Yeah. But my thing was, opposed to finding that one thing that pops, what if I can master the daily small things that will result eventually in that outcome? Like the phone calls I have to make, the posts I got to make, the response I got to do. And if I got to master those, which I mastered them, the rest of it above that just naturally got the fuel to grow. So it was always having this base being built consistently so nothing fell off. And that's the big thing a lot of entrepreneurs are not doing. They're like, how can I get that big bump, that one chunk, that big thing, make this one launch and it's going to fill up the room? Like, those are great stories. They sound good. Very few and far between in any business, online or offline. But for me, it was a matter of like, how do I go and be a master of the small things that are the needle movers for the big thing later?
You know, I think I was listening to a video, a videographer on YouTube. His name is Jacob Owens, who does amazing work, builds great business, and he said he had this model for how he looks at video creation. He says, "Don't wait, create." So like whenever there was a lull in his business, the first thing he decided, like he's like, I have to do is go create something. Even if it's free, I got to put something out that's creative, because if I ever stop creating, then I'll never get to where I want to be. I think, at least in my world, when I look at videos, like, okay, I need to constantly be creating, but that translates a lot into what you're saying is you're going, I can wait for the huge checks that make the year feel great, but if I'm not going day in and day out doing the detail things, responding to DMs and posting content.
And even then it's not safe. If I, to be honest, the difference when I think that I have to find some way to make a huge bump, it's like a gamble. There's a different sense of consistency and confidence and peace I can enter the world in, knowing that I have consistent income. It's the thing about it. It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You get a job. Most people have a job because they love security. Security is amazing, but security doesn't come with freedom. Usually, you may have some freedom depending on your job. Some of you might have amazing freedom. That's totally cool. But a lot of people have jobs, don't have freedom. I got to ask for 2 weeks off to go take 2 weeks off. But the idea for entrepreneurship is like, I have freedom. Although it's self-imposed, like I don't. Like at the same time I do. I have freedom to choose when I don't. If I want to write this book or do this thing, I can put away. But I get to do what I want. Like I can take a 2-week trip and do something, like whatever I want. Yeah. But there's usually not a consistency. There's not security, right?
Right.
And so when I stepped back and said I don't want the big bumps, I say my wife made me stop doing it. Then I started looking.
You're like, security. I do want the big bumps when I think about it, but
I mean, you want the bumps, but the security gives me the best of both worlds. I can start putting into retirement, investing, and making the world better.
I think too, what's important to think about also is that when I'm just thinking about the people that potentially could be listening to this, is that when you do find that security, the consistent, that allows for you to be more creative.
Oh yeah, because
you create bigger bumps. Like now where I am and what I'm doing, and what we're doing is we're focusing on the consistent month over month revenue and the content creation month over month that will allow us to think outside the box for bigger things.
Yeah, and do more for the world.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny because in our space, when people start talking about the money talk, this is the thing, I grew up, nobody in my family took about money. Like there's no talk, no conversation about income. And so because of that, it was, I would say I was poorly taught how to manage or get money in.
Okay.
Right? So if we're having a conversation about income right now, you guys are uncomfortable, it's a problem. Change it. Because if you can't get good of in the realm of having a conversation about money, like you're never gonna get good at something you don't spend time around. So that's just this as a precursor to this. And then secondly, when I look at income, I don't look at it as what can I buy? Can I buy Gucci belts and Ferrari? Like that's not Anthony. Like if you guys know me, it's not me. What I do know is it allows me to say, where can I reinvest this to reach more people? Like what can I create? Who can I bring onto the team? Like what can I do to put more out there so it grows the major vision? If you think about any major corporation, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If they want to reach more, they have to find a way to make more products that make more money or make a larger marketing budget to put it out. That's how you see commercials and everything. But when you see it like a guy, when you put a face to it, it becomes difficult for people to say, well, he's just making money. What do you think the corporations are doing?
Yeah, it's interesting because is brands, right? We tend to think of like businesses, like, oh yeah, the brand voice. They have this image. They have a logo. They have a logo, and for you, your logo is your face, more or less.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, your brand voice is your actual voice.
Yeah.
Your brand image
is my actual image.
Your actual image. So in all reality, when you think about, how you go about this, you are a business that you need to look at yourself at creating strategies in place to push yourself out there the same way a corporation would.
Which is create income.
Yeah.
That's the hard part is this would be a little contention. Like I get asked to do a lot of things for free. And my heart loves to do things for free. I do.
Yeah.
The problem is, however, like I can only allocate time in certain areas. And those of you guys who are in a space of maybe you're getting more pull from individuals, you feel sorry or feel bad saying no, like you gotta say no. Like I had some time today spent in a podcast, literally a 45-minute podcast. And no lie, when I got done with the podcast, I thought in the back of my head, like this was a waste of time. And here's the reason. It wasn't a waste of time of my time. It was a waste because the person had not spent time on their craft. Therefore, they couldn't ask the right questions and right flow. So they wasted their time because they didn't get anything great out of our time. And they're going to waste the time of the person listening because I just know like this wasn't put together well. And so what ends up happening, it's like I could have spent that 45 minutes doing something of greater value for the rest of the world. Like I have products to work on, a book I want to get done, like podcasts I want to record. And so it's like I now have to get in this in-between of where I got to say no to people. And there's one thing people don't realize is when you've said yes to something in your life, I don't care what it is, it could be a relationship, could be your health, could be a project you want to work on. If you've said yes to this thing and you do like I just did, and I'm a proponent of it, I mess it up, and you say yes to something else, you're saying no to what you already said yes to. Like I already said yes to this thing, and then because I said yes to this got edged out. And so now I'm damaging something. And part of it is like at the same capacity, I can have this conversation because I spent time other places to make enough money to have that time to be able to use.
Right.
So it's kind of like a weird, if you look at it, I charge for my programs. I do a great job in the programs. I get more clients, and then I create more income, which creates more time. But then now I got to be wise about the time.
Yeah.
So it's a weird, as we're kind of doubling up in this whole thing. But I think when it comes down to the income portion, you must have enough income to have freedom with your time, but then be wise with your time.
I think you were kind of tapping into something, at least that I focus on and I think about a lot, is like the mission, the vision, the why, right? That's a common thing people talk about, like the why. And you touched on a couple things, being that like you want to make impact in the world.
Yeah.
And so when you think about where you allocate your time, your thought process is, how can I impact people? And if this is not impacting people, then
it needs to be off the plate.
I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird because impacting people has levels, right? There's things that
Right.
I deem to be my important things that I think will impact people. But
Right.
this person's podcast is also going to impact people. So who do you say yes to? You see what I'm saying? Like it's a hard contention.
Tough. That's tough because you even think of it like there's so many ways, right? Like you could be impacting that individual that's running the podcast.
Yeah.
Like that could speak to him. But then at the same time, that 45 minutes spent is not spent on 45 minutes of people that are investing into your mission potentially and wanting to be a part of your mission, and you're not feeding back into them.
Yeah, it doesn't grow the way it can. And then I feel bad saying no. It comes back to the same part of the conversation, is whereas I feel bad saying no to people when I can actually do something good for them, right? But the problem that a lot of us don't realize is if you continue to keep saying yes, then the bigger thing for you gets smaller and smaller. There's a smaller pie for that to be there. So you have to realize that someone's going to feel uncomfortable at the end of that, that yes or no. It's either going to be you because you have somebody taking your time that doesn't need to, or it's going to be them, and you have to navigate that. And so you can't please everybody. I know in the very near future I'm going to have a lot of people mad at me. But at the end of the day, I have to have that because I think if I'm making them mad at me, or I don't want to say mad, maybe they're discomfort because I didn't say yes to them. but I will be able to realize clearly that that's a measure of the fact that I'm allocating my time in a space that needs to be put, in my perspective, for what I can bring to the world. And I say this from a standpoint of how I think your brain should operate. Those who are watching, is you got to get clear on what it is that you are going to be spending your time on. And then when you say no to somebody, it's a cleaner reason why no. You don't feel as bad. I don't feel as bad if someone says, can I do a podcast? No, I can't. I have to create content for the world like me and Corey are doing right now. Right. My phone's vibrating. I'm not going to pick it up because at the end of the day, like, I got you. No, like, I'm here, right? For you. And so when you can get to that point of clarifying that, you're going to say that to somebody, they're not always going to appreciate it. And it's totally cool, because if they don't, at least you don't feel that bad because you just gave them your time because they just felt bad.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody, like, everybody's mission and purpose and all that kind of, when it comes to business, is a different place. So they're going to be upset because you're not going into what they're building.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. But you'd think that they would get it. People don't get it. It's like they come to you and ask you a question. And the thing is, I know you're really busy, but can I give you something that'll make you busier? They do it all the time.
Yeah.
As opposed to like trying to provide value to my life. But
that's actually really interesting. Because you were showing me just different ways in which people contact you and reach out to you, and how they go about it. And I think it's very interesting how people shoot themselves in the foot. They kill the opportunity before the opportunity is there, just by how they introduce themselves.
Yeah.
By saying, I know you're really busy, but like that, essentially you've just said, my next thing that I want to tell you is not that important.
Yeah.
Because you're already busy, and my thing shouldn't be above what you have on your plate.
Yeah. Comes a lot. So they'll tell you anyways, and they take your time with it.
But how would you go about
how would
you go about framing that? Like,
how would I
tweak that? Like, someone comes in, messages you, hey, Anthony, I know you're really busy, but I've got this really cool, let's just say, software that people can buy books on. It's going to be the next Amazon.
So it could be something along that's the way I would approach somebody. If somebody's saying they're coming in and they want to, present something to me knowing I'm busy, it would be something along the lines of letting me know in advance you've consumed something I've created. So I know you at least know me, and you'll make sense what you're putting in front of me. So if you say, hey, I really love that video you put out on X, Y, and Z, I also agree with that. Because I'll read those and think, oh, cool conversation. And you could say, and one thing I think that would make that better, or could actually benefit the people you're talking to about that thing, would be this thing. As opposed to, I know you're really busy, but, because then when you tell me I'm busy, what you're also telling me is, I know you're busy, but I'm going to tell you this thing that's obviously not more important than it. But also, I know you're busy, and I don't care. I'm going to tell you anyways. Which bothers me, because then I'm like, I'm busy. You're still going to make an ask of me. And then what happens, you put me in a bad position to have to tell you no.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel bad, and you shouldn't have to, don't put that evil on me, Bobby. You know what I mean? Like, why are you going to lay that on my chest? Because now I got to respond. And I don't even like that nowadays social media, if you want to take things away, they took away likes. Take away the red portion of all these messages. I would like for it not to say seen on Instagram or Facebook. Not because I don't like people, but like, I'll read it and I'll be like, okay, I want to respond to this, but I can't get back to it right now. So I'll leave it unread for me, right?
Right.
But it doesn't make it unseen. So then before I can get back to it, I'm getting a message from someone saying, oh, it wasn't as important. You didn't want to respond. Like, whoa. I wanted to, but I'm taking my daughter to swim right now, and I'm not driving in the car reading your message. I was at a stoplight. Give me a minute. But that's what happens. And so it becomes this thing. I'm like, I'm going to leave them all unread because I don't want the stress of that, but I want to know what's in there. And it's a weird, I don't know. So it's odd. Yeah,
that's interesting. That instant gratification. I was recently talking to a friend of mine. She's starting a business, and I was talking to her. I was like, how are you going to scale it? I was asking her all these questions because she wanted to sit down and talk about branding and what do I need to do? She has no idea. Has a great product, she's making good money, starting out, has a good business, has no idea how to run it. It was like, I was just like flabbergasted. But she had no clue why she was doing it. Like zero, like it's fun. It's a cool hobby and I make money. And I was like, well, how does this business translate into the future? And so it was this idea more so that she wanted people to wear her product, but she had no idea how to like better get it in front of them. And she wasn't thinking through like, why am I doing this?
Well, there's a benefit and there's a gift and a curse to that, right? The benefit is you're going to let it organically create itself, but there will be a moment of contention when it becomes difficult. And if it's too difficult and she doesn't know why she has to keep pushing past the difficulty, it will die. And the thing that was fun will no longer become fun. And if she's doing it for fun, it's problematic. Because a lot of things will create that are amazing. There's going to be a point in time when you don't feel like doing it.
Right.
There's been, I'll be honest, a lot of times in my career of doing the speaking coaching thing, I don't feel like doing it. Yeah. I'm like, there's been whole days I know I got like 6 clients today, and I don't feel like coaching anybody. You know what I mean? Like, no lie. I don't.
You want to call in sick?
I would love to call in sick. I don't have the opportunity to do that. I can't. I got these clients I got to work with, but I don't feel like it. But then I sit back and I realize at the end of the day, these individuals have invested their hard-earned money in me.
Right.
And it's no longer about how Anthony feels. How can I make sure that when they show up and I show up, that they walk away and say, holy crap, this dude's amazing.
Right.
Whether I feel like it or not. And so I flip that back and I don't dig and I don't dig. I don't fuel myself from the feeling of I don't want to be here. When's it going to be over? Take the time.
Yeah.
I realize that if I can dig in and really put my soul into this time, the time will fly. So I find joy somewhere else and a driving force and a realization that this person needs me. And I'm doing what I do right now to help them and their family and their kid, like all the people that matter to their life. It doesn't matter how I feel. And so she'll get to that same point of contention when it's like, maybe she has staff and they're going to feed their kids. Well, if you don't feel like doing it, then.
Right. The cool part about it was we got to the spot of her going, I just want to work with people. Like, I don't want to work by myself. I want to work with people. And I was like, okay, in a perfect world, what does your business look like? Is it 5 employees, 10 employees, and you're managing it? She's like, oh my gosh, if I could have 10 people working for me, perfect. That would be amazing.
Doing
like I could just making her stuff, like building her business. But the goal for her wasn't like creating the best product. It wasn't
just a team of people.
It was a team of people.
It's a power thing.
And so then I was just like, well, hey, that's what your passion is. That's what you think about now. You backtrack. If I want to get there in 5 years, I want to have a team of people that I can go in and enjoy working with.
Be a manager.
Yeah. So like she wants to get there.
Yeah.
But she wants to build. So now she had a direction of where to go. So you're finding that why it's
a bigger piece. Even with that thing, at the end of the day, those people better know what she's trying to go after, or they're not going to be on the board. Like no one's going to get on the ship if the captain doesn't know where they're going.
Right.
You can be phenomenal at making that boat go but if I don't know where your ship is going, I'm not getting on the boat. And you're not going to have a crew that's going to fight if the storm comes, if they don't know where they're going. Because if they're on there and like, hey, Ant, where's it going? Somewhere in that direction. And a storm hits, they're going to be like, Ant, like, what's up? Because they can get off the boat anytime they want. Where are we going, Ant? Why am I fighting this battle? I don't know. We're going there. I don't know where that is. I don't know how far we're going to be on this thing. I'm hopping off. There's no end result.
Yeah.
So even with that, I would go back to her and be like, hey, these people, you want to have 10 people working, you want to manage 10 individuals, they have to know where that ship is going and why you guys are on the ocean in the first place.
And you have to be able to, in that moment, this ties back into, mission and why, right? Because everyone has different missions and whys.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a team of people, maybe you own a business and you have a team of people, every single one of those people on your team have a different why than you. They're never going to have the same why.
Different driving force.
It's never going to be the exact same. They're never going to care about your business as much as you care about it.
No.
But you have to also, as being their manager, right? Like I'm speaking of intuition. There's no one working for me. This is just my thought. Like I'm thinking through it. In fact, I work more for Anthony, so Anthony can lean more in on this. But I would assume that there's this level of caring about what they want to achieve in life and what is their driving force.
Yeah.
Because then, in motivating them
to do their thing, they'll show up in their level of genius, which will do what you needed to be done. But obviously, put them in a place where their genius. This is cameras off. Their genius is going to be something that is beneficial to what your vision is. So at the end of the day, like for me, like with what Corey does, Corey's had a lot of different careers and jobs, and I know for a long time he's been trying to get this going. for long. It's just part of me knowing Corey for a while.
Right.
He's gifted in a very specific area, but then there's also other pulls for life he needs. And so we are finally in a space, and he's in a space where I can now pull him in to work in his genius. And it's always been a matter of the relationship, helping Corey be Corey and helping him as a human being, relationship stuff, career stuff, whatever it is. I've always been focused on how can Corey be solid as Corey. And then he's able to get into a space of doing his genius when I'm able to afford bringing him on the team for the next level of the growth we're doing. And now everything works. But I'll always and forever care about Corey as a human. Make sure he's paid, make sure he's organized. Because if he shows up here and he's stressing off everything and everything's going crazy, he can't do what I need him to do at the level I need him to do it, to show up for you. Sense. So it's a back and forth kind of, and it's the same for any career. It could be your secretary. A buddy of mine used to call it director of first impressions. Somebody walks into the business, first person they see is that person. If that person is stressed out, struggling, they're broke, like they're just freaking out, that's a horrible first impression for your business. So I would find a way to make sure that person right there at the front desk is happy and joyous. You may not think it's a big deal. It matters. It's the first thing somebody sees and somebody interacts with. If that person's not dialed in that day, that's who the person that's the face of your business. So you got to look at the human beings more than you look at what they're just supposed to be doing for you because they're getting paid to do it.
Right. You got to invest in that comfy chair if they're sitting at the front.
Got to do it, man. You get a nice one. Sorry, man. I got to get this guy a better chair.
No, that's not the point of it. That's not the point of what I'm saying.
I know.
Oh, you just make. Oh, you saw the screens. I can see it.
Oh.
In your mind, what do you think the difference is between potential and possibility?
You can put me in a spot with a question I've never answered before. Oh, that's good though. Put me in a spot. Questions.
Hey, that's a point.
There's a lot of possibility in this.
Hey, just none of this is written. Look, I got my phone, but it's black. There's
Mine's
no
upside
notes.
down.
There's no notes. I drove here, put the cameras up, press record,
and we're going.
And we start going.
That's how we roll. I've always rolled like that. I do better
100%.
like that, man. Well, conversation built that same way. Potential and possibility.
Yeah.
So I'll take on possibility first. I think possibility is this thing that it's a perspective. I can see a possibility. I may not see something as possible, or I may see something as impossible, right? So I think possibility is a perspective we carry on situations. It's not exactly a potential. I think there's a lead in, but possibility is a thing you can create. Possibilities. I can mentally see something different and say there's a possibility there where there wasn't one before, right? So I had a possibility as a kid to be a great football player,
right?
But if I didn't lead in with great potential, using or maximize my potential, the possibility becomes an impossibility.
Yeah, it decreases.
It decreases, right? Yeah. So a possibility is something that is existing now, or you can create. You can create a possibility from either how you enter something or how you see something. However, potential is a thing that I think is what you have to take advantage of a possibility. So if I have potential to be great in some area, it doesn't mean that I have the capability currently. It means I have a potential to be great there. I have a potential to take advantage of it. And what a lot of people are doing is they're looking at possibility as this thing where if it comes up, I just kind of got to see if I can do it now. And they use what they currently have as their capabilities. Whereas if a possibility shows up and I have been trying to build my potential, potential value, potential worth, potential strength, whatever is reaching the far depths of what my potential is, I can then enter the possibility with better capabilities.
Right.
And so I think the difference in separation for me when I look at it is I'm always trying to increase my potential as a human. And I think we never really have a peak. Like we could say that I've reached a 10, but what you find is like if you're on a scale of 1 to 10, out of 5, what you see as 10, when you reach 10, you realize it's 5. Like there's always levels we can climb into. And I think there's a lot of space for people to understand in the realm of what I do. I'm really big on identity and the potential that's created from you shifting into a new identity or shifting to a different space in your identity. Because in that shift, the work you do is you maximizing and creating more spaces of your personal potential that allows you to take advantage of the possibilities with new capabilities.
So you answered the question in my mind as you were talking about that. I was going to ask you, how do you increase your potential? How do you increase your possibilities?
Yeah.
And you kind of you went into it, and your the whole brand of what you have is shift and identity, the identity shift.
Yeah.
What's for the sneak peek for everybody? What's the first step? Like
Sneak
step
peek.
one. Step one.
Sneak
You don't got to give the whole coaching
No,
program,
no,
the
no.
whole thing. But step one.
Well, this is I could easily give you all the steps, and it wouldn't. I can give you all the solutions, but it doesn't mean you're going to do them right. You know what I mean? Like that's
True.
I think a lot of people are like, there's a lot of information in the world. There's way too much information. You know this. But that doesn't mean you get the steps and get all figured out. The first step to all of it, seeing, though, right? The process is what I call the shift schematic. See, shift, sustain. And the first step of it all is one that a lot of people don't do well, which is to see with pure eye. Remember our avatar? Like, I see you, right?
Yeah.
People don't see themselves. We like to think we do. To be honest, if I asked you, like, what's your downfalls? I don't know of any. You'd say something that makes you feel good.
Right.
But there's exercises that we do with other people, call them triad talks, where we dig. And when people come back from that, oh, man, they see. Like,
really?
You see in ways you don't want to see, but you need to see. And so, like, without going too deep into it, the aspect we talk about of the potential and possibility and all that kind of stuff, when you look at your possibilities, they're literally what your perspective sees as possible. It's how you dream at full speed. I create this perspective of, like, I can see the possibility there, but I didn't see it before. Someone can open your eyes up to it, to be honest. But then now I have to say, how do I get to the point of having the right capabilities? And that's going to be you reaching into your levels of potential and increasing them. It happens through making an identity shift, which begins with seeing.
Begins with seeing. That makes sense.
I hope it makes sense.
Well, I might see it now, but I guess until I have a triad talk, maybe I don't entirely.
No, there's a lot to it, yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, it's just one of the exercises we do, but man, you got it. They call it self-awareness.
Yeah, I was gonna say self. I think some people it comes more naturally.
Yeah,
like you can have a self-awareness, and you can be self-aware, but you don't do anything with that.
No,
I think that's where I've been for a long time. I would say I'm self-aware.
Yeah,
but my self-awareness didn't translate to any action.
No, yeah, most
like
of it doesn't.
It just was like I know exactly what's going on. I know who I am. I know my talents, my gifts, my strengths, my passion, where I kind of want to go, but in a general sense, it wasn't fine-tuned, and so it didn't turn into any actionable items.
A lot of people won't. You're not alone there. Because at the end of the day, when you have a clear picture of who you are, there's a comfort in knowing, like, okay, that's who I am. And so when you know this, it's almost like we call it shelf esteem. I buy a book, and I bought the book, and I put it on the shelf, and I feel good. I bought the book. There's a sense of like completion almost. So if I
bought a lot of books.
Yeah, right. I've done that too.
I was just like, hey, I got this book. I'm about to read it.
Yeah, and it just hangs. And then I think for me, when I look at the aspect of seeing areas where I have a lack of capability, right, and we have the self-awareness, there isn't always a desire to build upon it or to work on it. Just because I know about it doesn't mean I want to work on it. I mean, like I know, and I think this is one thing a lot of people are into. The people I have arguments with a lot, like they'll do something, they know they're doing it in the moment they're doing it, yet they won't address it, and then later on in a calmer situation or a different situation, they'll talk about the fact that I did know, but I didn't feel like talking about it. Or like, why would you not in the moment of this do this? And that's them literally seeing for themselves what's going on, having self-awareness, yet choosing actively not to address it. And it causes problems. And it can also show up when it comes to you knowing like, hey, I want to start a project, and I keep starting projects, but I'm not a finisher. So you're aware you're not a finisher. Why do you keep starting projects then? Do you like setting yourself up to fail? Are you a masochist? Like you like making yourself feel bad? Like it's a weird thing. And the reality is if you know this about yourself, fix that. So that now you don't have to keep starting. Because think about, why am I starting something new? Because the last thing didn't work.
That same thought process, it may either fix it or find someone that complements you to work alongside you.
Something.
Like at least for me, I know that about myself. There's certain things I'm really talented at, and there's certain things that I may be talented at, but I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, so I push those. I push it off. I'll do it. It's 10 p.m. All right, I need it done by 9 a.m. Okay, 11.
I'll sleep till this time.
Yeah, dude. Oh, okay, I got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, shoot. And I push it off to the very last second. And now I'm starting to realize, at least just recently, that it's like, you know what? It would be better for me to go to pay someone else so that I can spend my time doing what I do best, which will ultimately bring me another client that will cancel out.
Yeah,
so I'll make the same amount of money, and instead of just getting
and eventually make more if you do it right.
Yeah.
But it's going to be something where you have to decide to do something with the information you have about yourself. whereas most people like to know information and do nothing with it. Just like anything else. I want to know this, but I do nothing with it.
Right.
And it's a problem.
Right.
So if we know this about ourselves and we actively do nothing, you are accepting the fact that you're going to suck at this thing, and that is just weird.
That is just weird.
That is just weird. And that's not. And then at the same time, like I don't have pity for those who want something, but and then people say aren't willing to work for it. Like you want this job, like you said earlier, you want this job, but you're not willing to work for it.
Right.
It's not that you're not willing to work for it. You're not willing to do the work that it requires.
Okay.
To have it.
Yeah, you'll work.
But what work you want to do?
Yeah.
And if it was something where you think about if you were doing the right work already, you'd already have it.
Right.
But you don't got it. And if you ain't got it, it's because you ain't doing the work. So at the end of the day, that's why people want these things and don't have them, and they're not willing to do the work. It's because I don't know, they're weird. It's just, and I say weird is the best way to explain in my head what I'm thinking.
No, I think that's very accurate because where I was mentioning that earlier, I was thinking through, in the world of video, the fun part about video is storyboarding, coming up with creative B-roll shots.
All fun stuff.
Like, maybe some cool editing transitions and getting the project that the budget is for renting equipment is $10,000 and you're getting paid $5,000 on top of that. And it's amazing. And so it's a $15,000, video, and you can do whatever the heck you want in the world with what you have. But that person is not willing to go make 30 pieces of 30 to 60 second video content for a business of testimonials where they're going to pay them $500 to $800 a month, month over month for a period of time, because that's not flashy.
No.
They want so bad to do this really cool thing.
Yeah, and they think that, I think this is the entitlement too, because I think, I can do this. I can copy what that person does, and that's great. Here's the thing. I look at people, like even probably in your world, they probably look and say, I can copy that guy's video.
Right.
I can make it look like that, but I don't want to do the work that guy did to get to the point of being able to create that from scratch, out of their brain, without thoughts. You can make it because you've seen what it's made. The value is in a person who can come in from nothing and create this thing that's perfect for that individual, that environment, that whatever, that organization, right? And what happens is they're not willing to do the grunt work, we'll call it, to build up. But you have to earn the right to be in a position to have people pay attention. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to earn that. You cannot just step into a space and think because of my skill set. I had a guy that worked for me at my gym years ago. This guy was an interesting cat, but he came in like he was getting his master's, and he's like, he had these conversations about how he should be paid as much as me. I own the gym. I built this thing from scratch. He should be paid as much as me because he was getting his master's and I didn't have my master's. And in my head, I was like, what kind of crazy entitlement? Do you realize what I did? I went and played professional football, got my bachelor's in this thing. I put the money to this, built this up, put everything behind the scenes. And you think because of something that you don't even you think's an arbitrary reason as to why I should be paid more, you should contest that I should be paid as much or the same? You just got it like a month and a half before. Like, you have been here a month and a half. But the perspective is weird. And similar to a lot of people is, well, I did this thing and I could probably create that. I can make a workout like you, Anthony, so I should be paid as much as you.
Right.
But can you do 95% of the other stuff that I just did to get in a position to do that one thing, which is the work, the grind, the grit, the build, the taking the slaps, taking the knee scrapes, and just get up and keep moving? Like, that's what a lot of people will avoid like the plague, but they want to be healthy. Like, it's
right,
nuts.
right. It's because I don't know if I was working with you at that time or not, but I know part of what you did to get that business going was you would go to events and he would have a piece of paper where they would fill out their names. Mm-hmm. And then he would call them back individually, one by one. I know you did that. You did that, and then he ended up hiring me to do that. But you would call those people one by one. It has nothing to do with writing a program. And 1 or 2 out of 30 or 40 names would even walk through the doors.
Mm-hmm. And a few could sign up.
And then you have even lower percentage of that. But you have to do that over and over and over and over and over again to get that one person to walk in.
Mm-hmm. To get in a position to even utilize the education.
To utilize, so your education means nothing for 90%
of the process to become a client.
That's crazy. How do you Because I think I've always wondered this. Because it's easy. I'm building a business, so like when I follow the different people and in the space of coaching, and I pay attention to their content, and they speak to entrepreneurs and they speak to building businesses. Mm-hmm. But I also know there's the far majority of people are working for companies.
Yeah.
But how does all of this translate to someone who has a job? Like I mean, because
it's finding problems and solving problems. You gotta have to. So if you want to say how do I apply? How do you apply the things that you've learned in business to a person who has no business?
Right.
And here's really what it boils down to is every single thing that I wanted to do, I had to find the problems. So if I want to launch something, what can go wrong here? So you ask people, hey, what can go wrong? Well, someone could take your logo and you got to trademark that, or you got to register it or copyright it, or you have to get yourself, financially covered. Make sure you have insurance in place for, security risk, whatever it might be. You have to figure it's all problems I had to find. And then when I found this problem, now it's like, all right, how do I solve it? Do I hire somebody? Do I learn it myself? Do I navigate? Whatever I got to do, I got to find a way to solve the problem and choose, do I want to solve this problem? So do I want to figure out how taxes work? Do I want to figure out how to legally protect myself? Do I want to figure out how to hire, how to fire, what documents to file, like all the paperwork, how to get trademarks? Do I even want to do it? And a lot of people are like, I don't feel like doing that. I'm just going to do the bare minimum, whatever, build the base system. And then what happens is at some point in time, they hit a wall because there's something they didn't want to learn that became incredibly important for them to have to know, and they didn't know it when they needed to know it. Could have been in a conversation with somebody. Could have been somebody coming back, years later, like, hey, you didn't do this. You owe us hella money now for some fine. Who knows? Right? Stuff that just happens. And so in the real world, life is the same way. There's things that you desire and you want to take place. You got to go seek out what could go wrong or where the problems are at with it, and then to choose, do I want to solve this problem? Like, maybe I go and I have something in the back of my house that had my backyard's all grass and it's all nasty grass and I want to concrete it up. Well, I can just sit there with nasty grass for a long period of time, or figure out how do I, do it. Oh, I can get concrete, or I can do sod. I can do something back there. Now you know that this problem has a solution. You have to choose. Do you do it? Do you hire somebody? Do you do concrete? Like, this is how life operates every single day, but we don't apply it to the bigger picture. We don't say, what is this thing I want? What are the problems? Do I want to solve it? And if so, how? And then do the work to solve it.
How do you, because I've always, whenever I've applied for jobs, I put on there, like, I don't put like, oh, I'm in sales or I'm in marketing or I'm a videographer. Like my thing is like, I'm a problem solver.
Yes.
That's how I identify as myself as a problem solver. I will figure things out.
I wouldn't even call it go ahead.
But how do you, hold on, you said you wouldn't even call what?
I wouldn't call it a problem solver because people don't see things as problems. People never want to hear that they got problems. If you go to an employer and say, I'm a problem solver, I'm like, bro, I don't got no problems, but
yeah, the pride.
A frustration solver. That would be a better one. Like, in my head, I'm like, I got frustrations that bother. Like, if you can help me with the frustrations I have. Now, at the same time, problem solver is great, but there's
that's interesting. That's an interesting way of looking at it. But the idea of, like, I see other people, I know other people that stuff will happen, and they, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like they don't think, and there's this. Have you ever heard of that that website called Just Google It?
Mm-mm.
So there's this. I think it's Just Google It, but what you do is you type in their question and you send it to them, and the URL will take them to Google, and it will show a screen of the question that they asked being typed into the Google search bar, and you click search, and then it
all
pulls
the
up Google's search results, and then you can actually go into it directly.
I'm going to use this a lot.
And it's hilarious. I've sent it to people, and they're like, what? And they're like, all right.
I'm going to use this, man.
Because there's so many questions I feel like people asked if they took a second to think about it.
Yeah, they did. It would be great.
Just 2 seconds and Google.
Yeah, people don't do that. It's almost like there's a certain level of a mind that people, and I don't even say mindset, it's a literal type of mind that some people don't possess. And you don't know you don't possess it. It's only those who are above that level of the mind that even know you are at that place. It's like being in the eye of a tornado and everybody else is sitting back miles away watching the tornado. For you, it looks calm, but everybody else is watching you spin up craziness and like go like, what are you doing? And you only know if you're miles away watching the tornado. And everybody has a level of this mind, right? So there's people if you had this mind, there's people that are at this level around you. I guarantee there are people that look at me and are like, this dude, just, he's not, he doesn't get it. And for something, there's going to be things. Inevitable, right?
Yeah.
And so I look at it with a perspective of, I can't even have conversations with certain people because they haven't yet climbed the tiers they need to be able to ask the questions that will be of benefit to them from my brain. And it may sound like it's me being like I'm bigger and greater than that. It is not even close to that. It's the reality of when you ask me a question and you're not clear on the base foundation, my brain's automatically going to level it up to where mine's at and talk to you from a place you aren't yet. Like I'm going to talk to you at a place that you can't see. And so what I find myself having to do is coming down levels to have conversations and then give them a piece just to go up one level. This is relationships. This is perfect for relationships. If you're in a situation with someone, a spouse, a partner, whoever it is, there's going to be certain places that you have a level of mentality above theirs somewhere. And so what happens is we get frustrated because they don't get it. And we try to get them to climb up 7 steps to get to our conversation. So when I'm talking to some people, like having an argument, you'd be like, are you crazy? How do you not get this?
Right.
What you're doing is you're demeaning them so they feel small. And then you're not helping them because they're still stuck down there. So what I do is I call it frustratingly simple. I come down to a level that is frustrating to me. And I engage at that level calmly, realizing I got to take them from the step they're at. And they're only going to be able to go up 1 step. And I can have this conversation. It could be a staff, could be an employee, it could be a partner, it could be a cousin, it could be a brother, whoever it is. You can't drag them up 7 levels. You drag them up 1. You tell them what's this next, and they get there. And then they're more open to taking more steps with you. You take them 1 more level. And so what happens in these minds we're talking about are people who they're not quite clear. They don't Google it. It's not that they're stupid. That's not even it in any way.
They're smart people.
Incredibly intelligent people. But in that area, their brain hasn't ticked over to grasp the concept of what it takes to go just that next step. So our job sometimes is to be frustratingly simple and explain, hey, here is the one thing. Like I had a client who needed to figure out how to make, they're supposed to make slides and record themselves going through the slides and teaching from the slides.
Right.
Screen flow. It's a screen record. Capture your screen capture. And so I'm having this conversation about them getting it done. And literally they were like, I don't even know how to make a PowerPoint. Can you teach me how to make a PowerPoint? And my first immediate thought was like, no. Like, what do you make a my kid's in high school learning this and you're a grown up. You got to learn how to do it. And I wish I would have had this Google it thing. Yeah. Because my thought was like, this person's brain is not quite the level of understanding that everything's on YouTube. Go and Google how to make a PowerPoint. And then that person, whatever you want, in the middle of the night, they'll teach you how to use PowerPoint better than I will. Because they're going to put in a structured order, right? And so as opposed to getting frustrated with them, which I wanted to, I want to type back like, go. I was like, I would love to. However, the clients that you want to work with in the future are going to need a person who's capable of solving problems. This is your first or one of many areas you get an opportunity to learn how to solve a problem so you can solve their problems later.
It's a great way. That's a great way of framing that.
Yeah, but I'm not frustrated. Like I wasn't mad at him. Like, but it had to be addressed in a way that was not rude and disrespectful. Because my first part of my brain was like, "Well, are you serious?" But the reality was like they're at level 1. I got to get in level 2. Level 2 is just, hey, go find a solution. Find out how to find solutions. Then they realize later on there's much more to PowerPoints in terms of what you can do and how you can do things, and more to this video, what you should even say in it, what the structure is like. We're back at level like, how do I even put a picture on a PowerPoint? I can't talk strategy of the PowerPoint with you right now because it's gonna fall on deaf ears because you have no idea how to connect the dots of how to make this come to life.
Yeah, you start talking about the aesthetics of a PowerPoint.
The flow, the feel, how you're communicating. But again, it's not that they're stupid. In no way were they. It was just in the area of that. They hadn't yet had the mentality they needed to have to go higher.
No, that's really I totally hear what she's saying. I have a client, well, potential client. Apparently, I'm hired. I'm not too sure yet. They said
I can tell.
From one person I'm hired, from the other person they have them email me, and they both work in the same company, so I'm not sure. But they want me to post for them on a social media platform, and they want to pay me, and I'm salesy. I'm salesy. You want to pay me money. I will figure out how to accept your money willingly and provide a service, provide value regardless. But I'm looking at it and I'm going, I might make money, but I need to teach them. I'll take the money, but I need to teach them how to do it on their own and then not take their money. So I'm going to pull back. This is my plan. Even though they'll pay me X amount of dollars a month, I want to teach them how to do it, pull back, so then they'll bring me back later and pay me more. Because if I, take their funds now, then I won't have funds later. But if I make them feel empowered, then they're going to want to work with me on future things. And then they'll bring me in on the fun stuff more. But I'm working through that, going, because the first thought was, you don't know how to post on this platform.
You're creating your clients. You're creating. It's like you're creating your high ticket clients.
Yeah,
I think we can do this too. I say we. If you're in business, you can create the client. So say, for example, you have a client that can't afford to pay for what you do right now.
Right.
Why can they not afford it? They're stuck at ground zero. So as opposed to saying, I'm going to make you have to pay to get this result you really want right now, and you go way up here, I'm going to do all this. You can't even afford this. Right? How do I get this person to afford it? They're not going to go back and all of a sudden magically have money. Like, you got to find a way to help them afford it. And so it's how I look at the way my programs are built also, is I want to give you a solution at a baseline level to give you a skill set to develop what you have to develop to create the level of income you need to then be able to invest in me to get you where you want to go.
Right.
Because here's also the problem. If they did go borrow money from mom and dad and bring it over and pay me to go up here, they miss all that they need to be prepared for up here.
Right.
And there's a level of grit and hard work and grind and knowledge that's just learned, so that when I get them up here, I'm talking to them at a level they get it. It's kind of like swinging a baseball bat. I don't know why I poked you like that.
It's okay.
So if I'm going to sit there and say, we're going to sit in this room right here, and I'm going to teach you how to swing a bat just with a book. Here's a book. Corey, read that. You're going to do this. Foot's going to go there. We're just talking through it. And then I expect you to go out and hit a home run. It's unrealistic.
Right.
But if I go, hey, Corey, go swing that bat 100 times, and then you come back, I don't even need the books. How'd you feel when you did this? Like this? How about that? That? Okay. What if you did this, this, and this? Does that make sense? Yeah, because when I did this, so I can talk from a level that you comprehend now.
Right.
Because you've taken a few swings. So people need to take swings before they get to the top and actually hit a home run. You got to take swings, so when I teach you what you need to, it lands on a heart and a person that got some skin in the game.
No, yeah, I think I've learned a lot of that from you, and maybe I subconsciously learned it, and how you operate and hearing how you talk with clients, or maybe it's just in my brain. Maybe it's just my mind. I don't know, but I think that now I'm in this stage of I just scratched myself on it.
Stop that.
Yeah, I shouldn't. I just got a tattoo and I scratched it by accident. Don't do that. But I think that I'm at a stage where I'm thinking in whoever's contacting me is interested in paying me.
Yeah.
They want to pay me money.
Mm-hmm.
There is a point at which I can accept their money that everyone wins.
Yes.
And I need to figure that out.
Where it's at.
Now that's that, because I'm a firm believer. You can correct me or you can agree or disagree. I think when people talk about like what's your market segment or what's your price point segment, all this kind of stuff, I'm a firm believer in the market decides. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go build this thing, and my market segment, to some degree, is going to be formed as I go.
Yeah.
So I could want to go this direction, and to lead into your shift thing, I might go, oh crap, everybody in this field loves what I'm doing. If I was firm on going on this direction, I could miss out on the business because, maybe I take a detour and I go back. Is that like, how do you think about that strategy?
Depends on when that takes place. If it happens early on, I wouldn't do it, because then you're missing out. You can bounce over there, but like if you look at what this middle section of his path would have created, would have gave you the strength you need to be great here and be solid. The problem is some people will come in, they will shift gears and pop over there, and then you don't do this, and then now there's time that's lost. You got to go back to here when you come back, because this whole game changed.
Right.
So I mean, I get it. I get the perspective. And that's what I do. When I have people that come into my ecosystem of the business and there's a need that they need fulfilled, and I don't have a product in place to serve them with right now that'll really meet their needs, I have one of two options. Option one is I try to explain to them how this thing is going to help partially with what they need, but it may not cover all of it. Right. Or I can say, you know what, we're not a good fit for you. And I might not have that client now, but I will have a client like that later when I go back to the drawing board. Mm-hmm. And I can create something while still doing this, create something that will serve that demographic. And then when that next person comes, because it will happen. Right. When the next person comes, I can then pop them over and try this. And if it does work, now I can make an educated choice to go back.
I think that's a really important thought process in business right there, is looking at the missed opportunities of clients is not missed opportunities, but that client will be cloned later on, more or less. So that same person might not come back, but like you said, that type of person, that type of client will be back later, and you learn from.
Well, because if you think about whatever you did to get that person in, just the law of numbers will not lie. If one person came in, you had 100 people come through, the next 100 people to come through, someone's going to be another one for that. Right. But then you can look at what brought them in when they come in and talk to them and give them this service over here. It's just a matter of being smart about what you create and what you do, but you can't kill the process and the path to go change gears, because now you're taking from one start I already had, now nothing's running. Well, I try this and try it again. And then the same thing could be like, well, what if I go over? It's back and forth. People just need to stay the damn course, man. That's what you really got to do. You got to just stay the course. Because if you stay the course, you get to learn information that no one gets. That's what I think few people don't even grasp. It's like you can learn knowledge from somebody who's been there, but there is priceless information inside the work it takes to get there. You're going to learn more in the path to getting there sometimes than what you learned before you started. So if I learn this thing and started going along this journey, I learn all this stuff. So if I hop out early, I'm missing out on the gold of the knowledge that's going to help me not only here, but 10 years down the road.
Absolutely. I mean, the easiest way I correlate that is like thinking through my job situation and taking on different jobs to the point where, you know, I've built, what am I going on now? The fourth or fifth business that I've started.
You got a lot.
But I've also I've held, you know, two jobs 3 times. I left a job and got hired back again. But two jobs at 2 different companies where the second I was hired, I knew I wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, but you stuck it in to figure it out.
But I stuck it in and I figured out. But I think there's an aspect of that I learned so much about myself. Mm-hmm. And it helped me when I ultimately finally was let go. And I wasn't expecting to be let go. I thought this was the route that I was gonna do. But once I was let go, I figured out, man, I need to do this.
Part of the process.
But if I would have tried to maybe force being an entrepreneur earlier, then maybe I would have missed out, and then I would have been not sort of forced, but I mean, there could have been the route of like, oh, I have to go get this job because this entrepreneurship
that happens all the time.
And then I quit on it.
Yeah.
But I was able to play the game a little bit longer by going in and getting, I call it when I go get a job, my A round of investing and my B round of investing.
Yeah, right in the business. I get it. That's how it's got to be, though. There's a lot of people that, this is going to be the honest, hard truth. Some people are not cut out to be entrepreneurs, but they love the idea of what it brings. But here's what like I said earlier, just because you're not cut out to be, maybe I broad stroked it, you're not cut out to be a specific, possibly kind of entrepreneur. There's different kinds, but the kind you're trying to be may not be the best fit for you. Some people have phenomenal minds, operate well. They could be part of a business, have ownership in it, but maybe they need to be in a partnership with somebody else at the face. You know, like somebody else maybe needs to run the personality of it, but you have a great brain for it. But everybody wants the same as like a basketball player or a football player. Like, I want to be the guy in the squad and the team. Like, it's not the case. There's always those guys that are still behind the scenes that are practice squad players or backups or who aren't starters or who guys that are on a different position that aren't the star. They're getting paid too. You know, they're still getting paychecks. So maybe you're not going to be the Peyton Manning. Maybe you're some guy behind the scenes that's, collecting a check as a backup running back. You're still collecting a check though. Like, you're still making so you have freedom. You say you're in the same team, but you maybe don't get the same endorsements. It's okay to not be the Peyton Manning. And I think that there's got to be a perspective of people that have that viewpoint in the world is I may not be the head guy or girl, but I can still be a guy or girl.
Yeah, I think having different roles in teams and situations is huge. I heard this. I read this, and it baffled me. Jeff Bezos owned, it was like 16% of Amazon, and he was like worth like before his money got split up in his divorce, but he had $160 billion. 16% of the company he owned. 16%. And I was like, oh my gosh. But then I thought about it, is when people begin to transition into realizing their role, realizing where they're at, a little bit of a lot is a lot more than a lot of a little.
100%.
And so when you're able to go, I'm going to go into this partnership. I don't have to own the whole thing, but I'd rather take less and let this get bigger and push out the mission than own the whole thing and be
broke daddy.
Broke.
Hey, this happens. This is honestly where I'm at with the business. I'm not broke, obviously. It's more of a where do you invest the income? Because I can easily sit back and say I've got this business that runs, makes good money. I'm able to just be my guy, just me on a laptop doing my thing and working. But then at the same capacity, I also say, well, who are you serving, Ant? If I'm serving Anthony, I'm okay with what I got income-wise. I hang back. I don't got to do much more. But if I'm really trying to reach the mission and serve the world and teach people how to make shift happen for their lives, I have to be one person that's a part of, a small part of something that's a lot. And so I look at how can I scale this? How can I bring new people in with income that comes in? How do I take that, not put it in my pocket, but put it in other people's pockets that allow the brand to grow? Not the income. The income will grow, but the income grows the brand. Therefore, I say the brand to grow.
Right.
Because the brand's also not Anthony. Identity shifts the brand. Anthony happens to be the person that created it. It's a difference there. It's why it's not Anthony Trucks coaching. It's identity shift coaching. And so there's a perspective of what I have in my mind is I've always wanted to be part of a team. Football was part of it. My team, the gym business was part of it. There's always a perspective of how do I take what I've created and help other people have something cool. Like, I take a little bit of joy in the fact that I can provide you a payment that allows you to do something you love to do.
Right.
As a human being, that makes me feel good, right?
Yeah.
And then you do a great job, and then the wheel can continue to spin. And so for me, it's like I would much rather be a person that takes what I'm able to create and put in the world with help to make the brand grow to something great and then touch more lives in time. So that the stable of clients I have is not just the base of 12 to 20 that I kind of keep around. It could be 2,000, which it will be in time. But I can't serve all 2,000. I need a team of people that are with the mission for the brand to grow it. So that's kind of where, perspectively, everybody's got to get a viewpoint. It could be the same thing we're talking about in a family. Like if it's a family thing, it can't be you want to be solo and have just all great in your house and your kids are walking around in squalor and your wife has nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You want to be a person as a small piece of everybody having something that makes everybody feel good. And then overall, it's great because you could have it all to yourself, but they get a lot of hate because mom and dad and mom and the kids are like, Dad, why you got a Louis Vuitton bag and we're over here and, messed up JanSport? I don't know. Making something up. Yeah. Like, why do you have to be able to be clear on, like, when everybody wins, you actually do win. That's where what it boils down to. When everybody wins, then you win.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the American dream that people think that the more money I could put in my bank account or the more properties I own, the more stocks I own, the bigger my 401k, the faster I can retire. All these things when it comes to monetary value makes a difference. And, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, even though we're talking a lot on this show how to grow your business and how to build something and have a shift that will impact and so you can have more success, I think figuring out what success is a really huge important factor to all this, because at some point, you know, you could be a lonely person
with a lot of money.
With a lot
You'd be
of
so
money.
poor that all you have is money. Settle in?
Yeah.
It's a good one. I read it somewhere. I didn't make that up. But you could be so poor that all you have is money. It's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a crazy one.
You could be so poor that all you have is money.
Yeah. Hey, but that's all relative. Success is relative, man. There's a lot of people that'll read like my stuff and they'll watch. Probably some guys watching this now and they're gonna be like, "Oh, this guy ain't successful. Where's his Ferrari and all of this?" You know, and I could buy a Ferrari, but I'm not. I don't have any desire for it. It's not my realm of Anthony's desire for success. It's not to knock the other guys or girls who have that. By all means, like, we live in a world of freedom. Like I respect the freedom. However, some people don't respect my freedom. They respect that there's freedom to buy a Ferrari and get in a private jet, yet they place this bubble of I have to be so comfortable and confident in my decisions that my decision has to be better than yours, which is super weird because it doesn't make any sense. Like, just because I don't want that the way you want that, now what I want's less than? Right. And so there's a facade I think we all care of, like, you got to be in this jet set and traveling crazy. I prefer to be at home in my PJs at night with my kids, and that's okay. I could have a Ferrari outside, but what's that going to do for Anthony? Not much. That's just Anthony, though. And so I think a lot of people are not realizing your scale for success has got to be your scale, yours. You got to create it, you got to craft it, you got to protect it also. At the end of the day, when it comes down to the boiling point of you by yourself in your home or with people in your home, like, are you happy? Because if you've built something, and we see so many examples of this, so many people talk about it. If you create something that you don't like, at the end of the day, you don't even enjoy it. Like, you're gonna hate that you have it and hate all the work you did to get it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you have something that you've enjoyed building, if somebody does come up and say, "Oh, but you don't have this," you'd be like, "Hey, I'm cool. I'm glad you think that would be a level of success for your life, but it isn't for me, and that's okay." Go home to your house where you're unhappy because you want this thing and don't have it. And I'm going to go to my house where I'm very happy with what I have, but I'm not fully content. I want to create more, but damn it if I don't love what I got already.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
mean, J. Cole, love yours.
God, yeah. Stay internal, man. Success it's all relative, dude.
I mean, there's plenty of things. There's plenty of people that are happy and they're making $60,000 a year salaries as teachers.
Yes.
And they teach. I've got a buddy who's like going back in his master's. He's a teacher and he just got married, but he loves going and being a PE teacher and going home and playing video games with his buddies online.
Yeah.
And hanging out with his wife now.
That works.
Like, he is like
ecstatic.
He's stoked.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. I think
he has no desire to go get rich. I mean, I'm sure no one's ever going to turn down, like, someone goes, "Hey, you want $100,000? Here you go." They're not going to be like, I don't want it.
Oh, no, I had this exact same thing happen. Not for me, but for someone in my life, this exact situation. And I love this human being more because of the decision they made, but why? My best friend in the world's named Jason. Everybody, man, I know Jay. Jay doesn't even have social media, but he watches. He says, "Sneaky way of getting on." I'm not gonna tell you how. He watches. He'll probably see this at some point in time. But Jay had an opportunity to work for somebody, and they were gonna start him at his current salary he makes as a police officer. They're gonna start him there. They said, "You can start here, bare minimum. You're most likely gonna be able to make about $400,000. You got to commute a little bit farther a year. Commute a little bit farther, do a little more work, but at the end of it, you're going to be able to just, have your same income, if not more, and be able to do everything else. That's great. But it's more of an entrepreneurial thing. Right. Got to go out and shake some hands, kiss some babies. It's somebody passing a business to him, an already operational business, passing it on. He's going to start at the bare minimum, build up. And after a lot of contention and having conversations and him asking me and asking my other friends, like, I was like, go do it. That's who I am, right? That's who Anthony is. And he was like, "No, I don't want to do it." But he kept talking to other friends of mine who were like, "No, I don't do it," for different reasons. What it boiled down to, he said, was this. At the end of the day, he's like, "I love what my job allows me to do because it gives me the chance to come home and cook like I want to cook. I can afford the plants because he's a green thumb. He gets to spend time with his kids. He loves where he commutes to. He's like, he doesn't even love his job. He doesn't love his job, but he loves what it creates for him." And he's like, "I could have went there and jumped this," but he says, at the end of the day, the fact that I was able to sit back and realize that I didn't need more was what gave me solace in turning it down. And the thing for him is he has stability, not freedom. In that he would have had stability and freedom, but he didn't need more stability. And so I respect him for being able to go his own direction away from what common thought would have been and just choose like this thing because he wanted that and didn't give a damn what anybody else thought.
Right.
To this day, I'm like that. I got even more respect for the guy.
Yeah.
Because if it was me, I'd have been like, bro, I pretty much like, you're crazy. But then when I heard his reason, I was like, you know what? I respect that. Like, I got a good feel for what this guy has as his value, his level of success. And I can respect that. Now, if he came to me every day saying, I hate my job, I got to change, I got to do something different. That's
I wish I had more money. You know,
but he doesn't
afford
have that.
XYZ.
Doesn't do it though. He doesn't operate like that. And it
Yeah.
fits.
I think that's. There was a time I was frustrated. I remember I went on this rant thing on Facebook. It was back when Pokemon Go. You remember Pokemon Go?
Pokemon Go.
I remember there was some friends of mine that were like complaining about not having a ton of money. And like, I'm broke, I can't do that, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. And they're just saying it. And I'm seeing them go play Pokemon Go and traveling around the Bay Area to go catch these Pokemon. And I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world because I was like, I don't have a problem with the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't. But if you're gonna play the game, you can't be upset by you not having money. And so I think with Jade, like he's going like, I'm happy. I'm not gonna complain. Like,
no,
doesn't matter. I don't need that money. I think people you can make more money, and it's beneficial when you keep your expenses the same as when you had less money. But the problem is with a lot of people is they go from $100,000 spending $50,000 a year on whatever expenses, they go make $400,000, and then they
$350,000.
Then they start spending. So now they always have to go make more money because the sliding scale just moves along, but they don't actually. They're still a slave to money.
Never getting farther.
They're
ahead.
a slave to money the whole time.
Yeah.
They
I totally get it. To be honest, if I'm being honest, that's kind of where my brain for a lot of years was at. Like, I'm making more, I can spend more, I can buy more things I need. At this point, like, my wife is good at managing where my stuff goes, but it's all back in the business. It's all back into whether it's products I need to like be able to operate and film and do things,
right?
Or like suits and shoes I don't like to wear unless I'm on a stage. To be totally honest, but besides that, like, I'm super simplistic. I like to be that way because then I don't have to stress off bills. Because there's the whole money buys happiness. I don't think money buys happiness. Some people will have like good, decent arguments, but at the end of the day, I think money removes stress, which gives an opportunity for a space to be created that can be filled with happiness. Doesn't mean that automatically money gives me happiness.
Right.
There's things I got to do with the money. I can facilitate stuff, and I can facilitate things that make me happy, or I could do stuff that makes me feel bad. Like I could take my money and go and buy like, a whole bunch of cocaine and try and sell that. That doesn't feel too good. It's money made me stressed because I'm worried about the DEA or something, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can take money and be like, you know what? I got this money and I put it away and I'm putting into a college fund. I'm putting into an investment account. And so I have peace knowing that something's being taken care of. But then maybe I want to take a trip with my kids somewhere. And I can create cool memories that facilitated. Without that, I couldn't have done that. Doesn't mean I'm biased to make me feel good, but it means I've created space to not have stress and then create memories that make me happy. And that's, again, Anthony.
Right. I think there's a level, too, like, even though each person is different, there is an overarching, there are questions that you have to answer in order to understand. Like, everyone has to answer the same questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least for me personally, I think if you get each person can define their own happiness, you run into this weird muck of like craziness. But there's an overarching theme of understanding, self, understanding, what is the culture dictating about how I view happiness, how I view joy, what is my family dictating? What what are these things? What are the lies that I'm believing that make me even think that, spending, it could be the opposite. Like, oh, I have to spend less money in order to, because then you're really just shoving it in the face of everyone else that you don't need as much money to be happy.
Yeah. But I mean, but then again, you're still basing on somebody else's viewpoint and judgments. That's a really common thing for people to be worried about other people's thoughts, which is, I get it. In the world we live in, it makes total sense, but it doesn't make you happy. Because then you're literally, whether it's a good or a bad reason, you're living for somebody else, and that feels like a lack of control, and a lack of control feels helpless, and helplessness makes me scared and unhappy. So like I like to control my own self, even my own emotions. There's even certain things against my wife and how she operates. I got to control myself. She doesn't get it, but it's internal and it's self-driven, and it's fine. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it demeans somebody or makes them feel less than. And if it does, then that's their problem. Like if me making or needing less money makes you feel bad, there is a problem not with me but with you.
Right.
I wish I could try to say that there's something, but it's not. And even then, maybe even take it back. Maybe it's not a problem. It's a problem if you think it's a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it is a problem if you feel that to be a problem, when the reality is it's not. Like, I have no desire in my life whatsoever to be a billionaire. Like, I've heard kind of what it takes to be like, what they call 9-figure earner. I don't want to do that. I can tell you right now, I don't want to do that. There's no part of me that would say that kind of money would create a life that is one that I really desire to live.
Right.
So because of that, like I don't do those things. And somebody who has that might come back and say, "Oh, you're a loser. You don't got money like me. You don't got a mansion like me. You don't got a garage full of cars like me." No, I do not. But I also have the honesty to sit here and tell you that what you did to get that, bro, I don't want to do that. Like I don't have a desire to do that. And it's not that I'm less than. I think there's this separation, contention between people who feel the want. I go on social media, I scroll, and I want that. Do you really want? Because do you want that thing? If you say yes, then do you want to do the things it takes to get that thing? And that's the separation that nobody's talking about. Because like I don't want to do what it takes to get there. I don't. There's a level I want to get to of impact. If I get there, it'll be a byproduct of the work I do from a passion standpoint of what I put into the world, but it will not be because I want to have a $10 million mansion. It doesn't tickle me in any way. Like I'm good in my home that I love with my wife and kids. Seriously, I love it. I call it bonus rounds, man. Like I talked about before, I think in the past, like when you live a crazy life, like I lived a crazy life, at a certain point, like you're in the bonus rounds. You can't lose. I already won. Like for me, based on what I should have been doing, I've already won, and I love it. Therefore, I'm in bonus rounds. I want to get as many gold rings as I can, but every one is like, oh, it's cool, but I still won the game, so I'm just in bonus rounds.
Yeah.
You ever been in Toy Story? Ever been in Disneyland Toy Story game?
Yeah.
And then they get the bonus round?
Yeah.
I'm in the bonus rounds, bro. I'm just sitting here hitting
confetti.
stuff. Game's already done. I'm just hitting stuff, hanging out. That's all I'm doing. And the cool part is I'm doing it with the mindset of helping other people get to their bonus rounds.
I think we wrap up the show with the bonus rounds.
Bonus rounds.
The bonus rounds. We hit the bonus rounds.
We did.
I think that's a really good place to leave this show, is focusing on, hey, reach a point where you understand what success is in your life, and then view the rest as bonus rounds.
Oh, but set your own scale for success.
Right.
Now, you cannot adopt my scale. You can't adopt anybody else you follow's scale. You can have maybe portions of it, but you have different things you like doing, different things you hate doing, and you've really got to get back and say, what is my version of success? And then do the things every day, fall in love with the things that you could do every day that will result in that. Because if you hate the journey getting there, you're not going to get there and love it. So find the things that will move the needle every day to get you to that point to where all of a sudden, like, you've done these things and it naturally flowed into this end result you wanted. And then at the end of the day, like, just rush in a bonus round. After that point, keep on trying new crazy stuff because you've already got where you wanted to.
Have
you
fun.
can, yeah, that you can set new goals. Like, damn it, set new goals, new places, but set the goals daily. Set what's the new goal I want to add to my day? Do I want to add a morning routine? Do I want to get more of a workout in? Do I want to improve my food that I'm eating? Do I want to spend an extra half hour reading? What are you going to do that's going to be a goal for your daily operation to where when you stack the bricks of your day, one day you look back and say, damn, I built a beautiful establishment, which is my life. That's the end of the show.
That's it.
Hey, if you guys enjoy the show, man, you got to like it. You got to rate it, review it, share it, all that craziness. Yeah, what?
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash this. Is that what they say?
The YouTubers smash the like button,
man.
smash the subscribe button.
Those are the weirdest things. Like, not YouTubers. I don't know any of you YouTubers. You guys, you do a great.
It's a different world.
The different world. You guys do a great job because professionally, you get a lot of followership. You make a living. So I knock none of it. However, I can't personally do what my kids watch these people do. Like, here's my rendition of the YouTubers. Oh my gosh, have you seen this thing? Oh, it's so amazing. Bro, look at it's like it's too much. It's way too much.
And then they turn and I have this pie and I smash it in your face.
And it's over. So hey guys and girls, love you for doing what you do. It entertains my children, but I'm drained just in that last like 10 seconds. That last 10 seconds is a lot of energy. So, hey, kudos to you guys for doing what you do. But if you like this, share it. If you enjoy that something came out of it that was beneficial to you, let somebody else hear it. Right. I don't even know how long we talked. It might have been a while. It might be like maybe we broke into part 1, part 2, part 3, week 1, week 2. I don't know what we did because this is this guy's job.
We just talked.
But we just talked. We made it happen, man. We're going to do some more of this today. We got more today, I think.
Maybe.
We're going to see. I got some things I got to do.
He's got business.
I got business. I got
business. Anyways, thoughts, ideas, any things you want to hear from Anthony?
Yeah.
About, put it in the comments.
If you want to know the work I do in the world, a lot of people have no idea, but I speak and I coach. I don't know why they don't have any idea. Most people do. It's a different conversation behind the scenes of what's been going on in my life for like the last 8 years as to why not a lot more people know that I coach and speak. However, it changed in an amazing way. So now I get to heavily push into the world and be like, hey, if you are looking for someone to coach you, to help speak at your event, it's what I do. And I kill it. I'm doing a damn good job because I want to make you have an amazing life. It's literally what I show up and do. So to start that journey, simple thing you got to do. You just go to slowergo.co and take a quiz. That easy. Or if you go to anthonytrucks.com or at anthonytrucks and send a message like, hey, I'm curious about the coaching you provide, we take it from there. It's pretty straightforward, really easy, but we take people through journeys to get clarity on what they need, to get an info video, and then from there have a conversation with the team to see if we can help you. No guarantee we do. To be honest, not everybody even gets a chance to come on because we're not always the right fit for people. We send them different places based on what their needs are. So as I go off of my tangent, I'm going to come back and say, again, if you enjoyed this, share it. The whole purpose of this thing we do here is to create cool stuff for you, not for me. I can hang out in my house all day and do my thing and work with my clients and be fine, but I do this because I want to have your life be something better because God blessed me with this human body and form and mindset and thought and experience to create something from it to give to you. So thank you very much for allowing me to show up in your life.